What's up, everybody? This is Tam, the editor for YGOU University's Study Hall. Somehow we lost the first two topics video, but we still kept the audio. So we're going to throw that up with probably just a black screen or a logo or something so you can still listen. But the last two topics, we still have the video. So apologies. We're going to figure out how it happened and have it not happen again in the future. And thank you for your patronage.
Welcome back, everybody, to YGOU University. My name is Kevin Knowles. I am joined this week by
Bryce Strike,
Jeremy,
and Alex.
Please, if you like our content, make sure you check us out at patreon.com/YGOU University. Now, we did take a break last week, guys, so there's a lot to talk about. But first of all, let's just go over how's everybody's past couple weeks of Yu-Gi-Oh been so far.
I guess I'll start it off. The past 2 weeks at my locals, I've been playing Chainburn.
Nice. How's it been going?
The first week went pretty terribly because the first round I got FTK'd. And then the second round I got paired up and got Kaliugud.
Is there a recurring villain in your local experience?
You mean Douglas?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Doug Brown.
He's a mad scientist.
He
Look what you
Kaliugud me,
created.
and that's why I know.
Yeah, it's mini you.
Yeah. And then I guess this week was better because I only got Kaliugud one round instead of
But he
I
had
would have got Kaliugud 2 rounds, but you just didn't want to play the last round.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I technically had
In
a
the
not
first week.
too bad time, but it should have been a very, very, very bad time. And then this week I just played against people that weren't playing Kaliuga, except for one round.
Then you played Doug.
And I played Doug, and he actually bricked game 1, or he didn't brick, but then he just made Kaliuga turn 2, and I was like, oh, I still lose. So I was like, well, this is stupid. And then
And he had Red Reboot Denko.
Yeah,
He's really good at opening those.
yeah, then game 2, I sided in Rivalry, so I was like, I'm gonna get him. I'll go first. And I flipped up Rivalry. He's like, reboot. I was like, that's fine. He rebooted me. I'll just chill on the scapegoat. And he's just like, Danko. And I was like,
Well,
and then I lost.
that's a wrap.
But then I went 3-1 because I played against people that weren't playing that kind of bullshit. So then I fucked them up.
Nice. Alex?
On Tuesday, I lost the tournament to Austin. I got second place.
You are not the new champion of the belt.
I know.
At our
I was
locals,
10 seconds away from winning.
For those that don't know, I guess you wouldn't know if you don't play here. Our locals has like a WWE belt that we have that the winner brings to every Pegasus League tournament we do or special tournaments.
Yep. I lost in the
Sad
last
times.
round.
He FTK'd you.
Um,
Did he FTK or just do dangerous
game
stuff?
Game one, I lingered in it because he did allure and banish Cyberstein, but then he leviated it later.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
it was 9 minutes later that he leviated it. So I'm like, shit, I was supposed to scoop this game.
You're like, darn it! I wasted 9
What the hell?
minutes.
What the hell? And then game 2, I went first, and Salmon going first it's probably gonna mess you up. And then game 3, I side decked all my hand traps in. It was a special tournament where you could play a 100-card side deck, so I sided in 15 hand traps for all of my regular traps, and except for one counter trap. And then he made me go first.
You're like, oh, whoops.
And so I was
Weird.
just sitting there, make a couple guys, and comes back around to my turn in time, and he's got Bigfoot and Unicorn co-linked to Cerberus, so they can't be destroyed by card effects. And I link all my guys into Topologic Bomber Dragon because there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and it's only 3,000 and I needed 32. If there was a little more time, I would have realized I need to make the guy that can make Topologic attack twice.
So if you didn't waste 9 minutes on game 1, you would have been great.
Yeah, there was 3 different ways I could have won.
Dang.
I could have put those guys in defense mode, and then Topologic would have been enough.
The thing about Austin's deck, he plays like the Cyberstein, make it a psychic, and don't pay cost and summon a bunch of phoenixes, is sometimes he doesn't get there, and so you want to stay in it because it bricks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he does get there, it feels real bad. Because then he makes that Coach King Xyz, and you're just like...
Yeah, I wish I didn't tell him about that.
Look what you've also created.
Twice.
Yeah.
Not
Jeremy,
cool.
how about you?
I picked up Salamangreats and went. Let's see. The last 2 weeks I played. I only dropped one match, so it feels pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, nothing super special. I mean, I didn't go undefeated in the belt tournament where it mattered, unfortunately, but I don't know.
That's a shame.
Happens.
It's a shame. I think you played Austin. I played Austin.
I didn't play Austin.
Oh, that's good. Well, speaking of tournaments that happened, we can talk about YCS Dusseldorf happened this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very special tournament because
Both of them happened.
they had two. They had Dusseldorf 1 and 2. And from what I've read up and done some slight amount of research, like 10 minutes of it, but it's so one of the first YCS capped at like 2,400 people, I think, is
Just
what it was.
shy, yeah.
And then they had just like 1,000 extra people that they had to turn away. So then they decided to scrap side events, I think, or like they were gonna do like regionals or something. Scrap that event. Like they scrapped one of the events to do a second YCS that capped at 600 people.
Oh, and the prize card, like side event, point system thing you can do there,
Yeah,
where you can play a bunch of side events and then play off
like
for
the
a prize
tickets
card.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. For when you do the side events, you get points for entering and winning. So you get a prize card. So they just canceled that, so the prize card could go to the other YCS.
That makes sense. So I think it shows that Yu-Gi-Oh is thriving right now, and it's pretty wild. I mean, obviously this is in Europe, and Europe gets a lot more coverage of it, and we can kind of see it's a lot easier to have a lot of people because there's so many countries within a small confined area, which is another thing. But man, it was weird, like not knowing what was happening, and then you're like, there was a second YCS. You're like, what's happening? So it's pretty crazy to hear about. But I mean, from both of the tournaments, so the second one only cut to top 16, and then the first one cut to top 32. There was 21 Salamangreats between the two tournaments that topped. That's a lot. That's a lot of that showing. And what's not showing is danger variants.
And Altergeist.
And Altergeist, again, were just hosed from another YCS. But I think the main thing is we're seeing another shift again. Like, we were talking about Dangers and how, like, they're the best engine, which I still think they are, but it's now you're seeing a drastic shift away from those decks.
Because there's a $30 control deck.
Which I really want to get into,
Yeah.
which is, it's just really interesting. Obviously, Sky Strikers were in there, but what's your guys' main takeaways from Dusseldorf as like a YCS and then also the meta game?
I think everyone except the Sky Striker players played Phantasme in their deck.
Really?
Yeah, just
That would
3
explain
copies.
the extreme skyrocket of the card's price.
It's just like really good against Salamangreat.
Pretty much everything, because most
So
decks
good
just
versus
go for
everything.
Link monsters. So like,
Yeah.
even if it's Link 1, you just drop it and then you can negate like a card that targets.
Yeah.
So Phantasme, do you know what it does? I'm not 100%
Oh
sure
yeah,
on
so
what
if
it
you
does.
do a Link summon, then you can. If your opponent does a Link summon, then you can summon Phantasme from your hand,
Mhm.
and then you draw for that card's Link rating, and then you put back cards equal to the number of Link monsters you control. So if they just Kagari, you drop it, and you draw 2.
Because it's link rating +1, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
How do you?
so I think
You have
it's
to put
I
back
think it's
somehow.
you draw equal to the number of Link monsters they control +1, and then put back equal to the number of Link monsters. So it's like Saryuja, you're drawing and then putting back 1 less than you drew.
Okay. What's
It
the
helps
other
you-
effect on it? Because it has another effect on
So
it.
the other effect is if your opponent activates a card that would target, you can discard a card to negate it. And so, like in danger decks, that's pretty cool because you get your effects. But in other decks, you can just use it to like stop your opponent's like interactions against you.
Does it stop? Did you just look it up?
Yeah.
Does it stop effects that target anything on the field or just your
I think
opponent's
it's
Just your
it's
cards.
one of your
monsters?
that targets a monster or monsters you control.
Got it.
Okay.
So it doesn't negate Twin Twister.
It sure doesn't.
But I think, I mean, we were talking a couple weeks back about Max C, and this card's pretty much pretty much just like a pseudo maxi. Like you're
It's
drawing
like-
cards and then it has a negate on it. But it's also
like
big
kinda-
dude.
It's
the
like kind of
body.
better, yeah, because you
Mhm.
like get the monster, you can dig for side deck cards, and
mulligan
yeah.
your bad ones.
Yeah, and you get to like shape your hand up, which is great.
Put your mare back.
Yeah, like if you drew some dead cards, you're just like, oh, I need to put those on the bottom, and then I also get this sweet negate, and it's like 2,400 or something,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Huge, not huge, but I mean that's better than a max.
It's the
where
biggest
you
hand
discard
trip I ever seen.
it. And
Mm.
it cannot be called by the graved.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing. So I think that's a good takeaway from the metagame is that we're seeing that just being played a lot. And I saw a lot of decks weren't playing impermanence. I mean, I think like Salamangrates were, but
Yeah, a lot of some of the Salamangreat decks, the ones that play like Sanctum, they play Trap Trick, and so with Trap Trick in your deck, impermanence is better than Effect Veiler. But
Yeah.
usually Salamangreats play Effect Veiler because your first turn board is like you make monsters, so Effect Veiler can be a little better.
Yeah.
But it's 0 attack, so you get to the benefit off Leo too. Heat Leo.
Oh yeah,
make their
Yeah.
monsters
To
zero
make
attack.
it yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think it was cool. I think the fact that they had to make a second YCS should just be a sign to Konami of, hey, maybe we shouldn't cap these tournaments so low. I mean,
it was like a problem with the venue.
Mm-hmm.
was it a venue problem?
Yeah,
more?
like
Couldn't
they had a
fit the
contract.
people.
They had like a contract with the venue that was that set the cap, and so they had to
Mhm.
have a second venue for YCS.
Yeah, it was like across
2.
the street, right? Like
I
it
don't
was
know.
just like a completely
It
different
was
venue,
real
I think.
close.
I mean, last time we saw something this big was what, like YCS Long Beach when they had like 5,000 players show up. I think it was the 100th YCS.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
tour guide mat or
There's
tour
like
bus
five,
mat.
yeah, tour bus, 5,000 people. And I think it's like I've been saying for a couple weeks, I think this is just like the time for Konami to strike and just make Yu-Gi-Oh great again, you know? Like up our prize support, everything like that. Like the players are outpouring with the terrible prize support. If you made better prize support, you'd probably see numbers increase. And I think that'd be crazy. I mean, you already had between the two tournaments 3,000 people. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people for just a random YCS. So, any other thoughts, Bryce, on it? Did you have any?
No.
No?
No.
I do want to point out that there was one True Draco that topped in both the tournaments, and I hate that deck a lot.
See, I kind of want to touch on that. Not necessarily True Draco, but I like to see that the top decks, or decks that are topping rather, is not just a bunch of crazy combo decks anymore. We're seeing a lot of those control decks that actually run purple cards in them. So purple cards aren't bad anymore. I don't know.
Like-
That's the play style I prefer. So I like to see a lot of that stuff come out of the woodwork and actually
There's,
be doing well.
Two decks that are like more control-y. Like I think Thunder Dragons are a bit of a control deck. Like they're
Yeah.
not super combo-y, but they can kill you in one turn.
Yeah, I mean
for
we're
sure.
seeing like Salamangreats, True Draco, Trickstar's technically like a control deck now. We have the Subterror.
Striker. Yep,
I have a
Guru
soft
control.
spot for Subterror, so I'm glad that they're actually a thing now.
They're annoying.
I love them.
But yeah, I think one thing that you pointed out, Altergeist aren't even in either of the tournaments top cut, which is interesting. Is it? Do you guys think it's
too good?
Do you guys think it's? Do you think it's just because Salamangrate's a better version of Altergeist?
I
Kind
think
of
it's,
idea?
I think it's because Altergeist doesn't seem to have a lot of recovery options. Like Salamangrate, if you shut down their play, like they can still do stuff next turn. Like they have a lot of engrave effects. They have a lot of like one
And
and
they're
2 card
aggressive.
combos.
You can be really aggressive with it.
Like,
Like-
Altergeist is so passive.
Yeah,
Like
all
it's
these guys
forced
are-
to be passive.
Your highest guy's like 18.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's if you're not in control of
Well,
Altergeist,
Concrete's like 24, but
defense.
is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
defense. Their biggest dude's 16, I think. The Marionetter.
17, I think.
17 defense.
Slow.
It's
Nice
slow.
try.
It's
But
slow.
yeah, their dudes are small and they have to have control of the game at all times. Otherwise, they don't really have any recovery. Like, yeah, they got extravagance, but so do the other control decks. But they don't have aggressive plays unless you're making what's the Hextia, like a couple Hextias in a turn. But either way, like Salamangrates are more aggressive. Guru has more recursion, so they can get back the stuff they lost, whereas Altergeist really don't.
And between the two tournaments, there was one danger deck that topped. One. Just Uno.
Well, the Thunder Dragon decks are danger decks.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that means there was 6.
Yeah, I'm not really
Yeah.
sure what that distinction was between Thunder Dragons and Danger, but
And,
Yeah.
Was there any Subterrors?
there was
yeah,
one.
there was one in the first one.
There was one. My man.
Yeah.
But I think the winning deck was the Thunder Dragon deck, right?
No, it was
Danger
Danger
Orcust.
Orcust. Yeah.
Oh, it was the
It was
Danger
played by
Orcust
Thomas Rose, who's the hero of Europe. He wins almost every event he's in. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, he was known as like the BA guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, the finals got decided in sudden death. He set a monster, just played it cool, lean back, and the other player was just like, he just set that so confidently. It must be Jackalope, which has 2,000
butt.
defense, and if I attack it, I lose the whole tournament. And so in that moment, he played out of fear. You talk about playing out of fear or out of love for the game. If he was playing out of love, he would have attacked with both his guys and risked it, but he linked summon in a way that he would have a 23 instead of two 18s. And so he
What
could
did he
beat
attack
Jackalope.
into?
It wasn't Jackalope. It was literally any of the other monsters in his deck, probably.
Just
and
got him.
Yep.
Then he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll pass."
Comes back to me. Oh, and then crazy combo you. Whoops.
That's tight. That's good. I mean, we can relate that to the time that like at our Omaha regional when that judge was like, "But if he has impermanence, you can use it." And then you were like, "Oh man, maybe he has
Maybe he has
impermanence."
impermanence.
And then you just like
But that was
played
good
through
for
it.
me. Yeah.
But then you like tried to play around it, and then he didn't even have it.
Yeah. But it was good that I did.
That's funny. I mean, yeah, I think my takeaway from the YCS is Salaman make Salaman great again. I'm trying to make a meme there, but
Salaman goods.
Salmon great again.
Salad boys.
average.
Salads. Yeah. Salad boys.
I really like the deck. I think it plays really cool. So I think I really want to get into that in our next topic. So